it's a special game to be a part of, and I'm glad to be a part of this tradition.
Who is this?
I was like, who's up on?
Just standing there.
What's up? Oh, we got two.
What's he doing?
After the game a couple weeks ago, Sonic and Knuckles are
Look at him in
doing
his hood.
things, and I said, "What's yours? Have you figured one out yet?"
I haven't. What do you
You guys
think?
have one for him?
What are they
I'm
doing?
not here. Oh, you're not here. Jameer, do you have a nickname for your quarterback?
What?
If it's fourth down and one,
Yep.
should we hand it to Jameer or David Montgomery?
QB sneak usually is best, you know.
That's a good answer.
Oh man.
The Lions are looking to right another wrong this season by breaking a 7-game losing streak on Thanksgiving Day, while the Bears come in hanging on to their playoff lives, looking to spoil the turkey for everyone in Detroit. Welcome back to the channel. I am your host, Johnny Gaz. Thank you for returning for another video. Two teams heading into the Turkey Day game in opposite directions. The Lions at 10-1, riding a 9-game winning streak, while the Bears at 4-7, losers of their last 5. Kickoff for this one will be Thursday, November 28th, 12:30 p.m. on CBS. Let's go through my full game preview. We'll start by looking at the headlines and storylines from Thanksgiving Day week. We'll take a look at the key matchups from this game and the X factors. I'll tell you what the difference in the game will be, and at the end of the video, I'll give you my final prediction and score, so make sure to stick around. Before we get into Lions and Bears, make sure to slap that like button if you dig the vibe here at Johnny Gaz Sports. I'd also love it if you consider subscribing. We're on the road to 3,000 now, thanks to you guys. And if you hit the notify bell, you won't miss any future videos. I do have a membership option available. That's where I do all my live game play-by-play reactions, my new ladder series, and a ton of other fun stuff. But there is always free content here for you. Make sure to comment down below. Who do you have as a final score here for this Thanksgiving Day matchup? Can the Lions break their losing streak? I appreciate your guys' interaction. Let's chew on some Turkey Day football. Let's kick this game preview off with our headlines and storylines from this short Thanksgiving week. Let's start with the Lions. They did waive edge rusher James Houston. Coming as a shock here, James Houston, who started off his rookie campaign in 2022 on an historic sack pace. He had 8 sacks in 7 games in his rookie year. He was then injured in 2023, missing of the majority of the season last year. He came back towards the end, and through the end of last season and 2024, he really did not get back to form. The Lions did try to turn him into more of a well-rounded linebacker. When that really didn't work, they then transitioned him back into a pure pass rusher, but he just has not been able to produce here in 2024. Dan Campbell did come out and say that it just didn't work out, and he thought it best for the team as well as James Houston for them to part ways. Jamison Williams has appeared to have been unlocked since his return from suspension. We know he had the PES suspension combined with the concealed weapons investigation. That warrant has been dismissed, and with it has come a reinvigorated attitude, and that has correlated on the field. Since his return, he has had 12 receptions for 241 yards and a touchdown. Be on the lookout for some CBS promos this week involving David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs as Sonic and Knuckles. These two are the first pair of running backs in NFL history to go consecutive seasons, each with 10-plus touchdowns. The Detroit Lions have become the public betting darlings, but unfortunately Vegas's worst nightmare, as they seem to beat the spread each and every week. More money is being poured into betting on the Detroit Lions than ever before. More so that it's affecting the way Vegas is setting their lines for the upcoming games. Man, are we living in a different world. Speaking of living in a different world, there are actually scenarios where the Lions can clinch a playoff spot here in Week 13. And although the goal is to try and get the first seed in the NFC and home field advantage in the playoffs, it is nice to know that the Lions can put themselves in a good position early on this season. And let's quickly go through the Lions injury report. Currently, Khalif Raymond, Taylor Decker, and Carlton Davis were no practice this week up until Tuesday. I expect Khalif Raymond to be out with the extent of his injury. We are still waiting to hear if this will be a long-term thing. As far as Carlton Davis, he suffered a new knee injury last week. This is on top of the thumb injury he was already playing through, as well as Taylor Decker, who did play through his injury there against the Colts. But with the knee, the Lions, I think, will give all three of those gentlemen the Thanksgiving Day game off. David Montgomery as well as Amon-Ra St. Brown were both limited in practice on Tuesday. David Montgomery with the shoulder injury. The Lions kept him out of the remainder of the game as a precautionary. Amon-Ra St. Brown played through his apparent knee injury. Again, both limited in practice and are expected to play here on Thanksgiving Day. Terrion Arnold, who had the groin injury, did not play against the Colts, was a full participant on Tuesday and is expected to play. That will be a huge addition considering the fact that Carlton Davis will most likely be out. Now let's switch over to the headlines for the Bears coming into this Thanksgiving Day week. And they come in at 4-7, and unfortunately losing the last 5, they are now in a position where this is just about a must-win game if they have any thoughts about the playoffs. Currently, they are at 0.8% for getting in the playoffs as a 7th seed. The Chicago Bears and their offense, the season in general, just hasn't gone as expected. They've already fired offensive coordinator Shane Waldron, and there's a lot of built-up heat now against head coach Matt Eberflus. Believe it or not, he is 5-18 in one-score games as a coach of the Chicago Bears, and there seems to be a lot of support now swelling for the interim offensive coordinator, Thomas Brown. Last week against a good Minnesota defense, they put up 22 points and 400 yards of offense, but still managed to lose that football game. And although the Bears have really struggled across their offensive line, they are very happy with the increased production from their 2 tackles, Darnell Wright and Braxton Jones, who both suffered with some injuries early on in the season, have now worked themselves back in the lineup. And according to PFF, they have become 2 of the better tackle duo in all of the NFL. The Bears are coming into this Thanksgiving matchup relatively healthy. On their injury report, they only had 1 player as a non-practice for Tuesday. That was safety Elijah Hicks. He has an ankle injury and is doubtful for this Turkey Day game. Also, guard Ryan Bates was limited in practice on Tuesday. He's returning from concussion protocol. Now let's get into some of those key matchups for Lions versus Bears. And I hate to oversimplify things, but I think the bottom line for this Lions team, this Lions offense in 2024, is their run game. To me, the biggest key matchup in the Thanksgiving Day game will be the Lions running game versus the Bears run defense. The Lions average 150.8 yards. They got 3 TDs out of Sonic and Knuckles last week in Week 12 against the Colts. The Bears, although they started off stronger defensively, they have really fallen off as of late. The last 5 games, they've averaged 151 yards, giving up rushing yards on defense. And again, this is the basis for the Lions offense. They really have not been stopped all year long. I will say that the Colts seem to stymie their interior rush game early on, but Ben Johnson and the Lions offense seem to adjust early. Screen game, draw game, getting Gibbs around the outside, using the edge a little bit more. So even when they don't find front pressure, immediate push success, the Lions offense is able to adjust. They're also able to run, play action, other things off of this dominant run game to make this offense flow. So to me, this is the most key matchup in this Thanksgiving Day game. The second biggest matchup in this Thanksgiving Day game will be the Bears pass game, or their wide receiver weapons, against the Lions secondary. The Bears bring in 3 fantastic wide receivers, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze. DJ Moore himself, 54 receptions, 566 yards, and 4 touchdowns. And the question is, who really matches up with him on the Lions defense? Rome Odunze, Cole Kmet, Keenan Allen, all 3 of them have 39 catches apiece, following DJ Moore as the leading pass catcher. The Lions will be without Carlton Davis. They will be returning Terrion Arnold, the rookie, but they're going to be asking a lot of him and a backup cornerback to step in and guard these weapons for the Bears. The Lions really had trouble at their depth cornerback position against the Colts. They gave up big splash plays multiple times through the air because they weren't really able to match up with the talent because of that depth that the Lions don't have at cornerback. Can they get Emmanuel Mosley into the mix? Are they able to use pieces like Amik Robertson, Brian Branch, guys that have experience at corner to make up for that? That, to me, is the second biggest matchup in this football game. Now let's get into those X factors, or the players that will make the ultimate difference in the Thanksgiving Day game. Let's start with looking at the quarterbacks. Obviously, we have to start with the Lions quarterback, Jared Goff. Mr. Efficiency here in 2024, but he's coming off of a kind of a down performance against the Colts. 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, not a ton of yardage, but again, was efficient. He didn't make any true mistakes. On the season, Jared Goff, 223 for 306, 2,761 yards. He's got 20 touchdowns to 9 interceptions. Now, I would say that the Bears' secondary is actually pretty stout. But with a lack of pass rush, they really don't sack the quarterback often, and it's getting worse and worse throughout the season for the Bears as far as their pass rush efficiency. I think this opens things up for Jared Goff. And on the other side for the Bears, of course, rookie Caleb Williams. Statistically not bad himself this year. 233 for 372, 2,356 yards, 11 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. He's been really up and down this year, some of his own doing, but mostly because of the offense of the Bears. We know, we talked about Shane Waldron, the former OC. They have a new OC now, and they've really simplified the offense for Caleb Williams. Kind of similar to what they've done with Anthony Richardson and the Colts, but I really obviously believe that Caleb Williams has more talent. He has more ability to run a true offense, but that's really yet to be seen for the Bears. The question is, can the Lions pass rush contain Caleb Williams if things break down? I think they've shown over the last several weeks the pass rush has gotten better and better. Guys like Aleem McNeil, Zadarius Smith, Josh Pascal, they're really able to do good things on the line, set the edges. So I think they are able to contain Caleb Williams. But he's very athletic. He's shown times where he can take over football games, and the Lions will have to be on the lookout for him in this matchup. And in almost every game here in 2024 for the Lions, a X factor has to be Sonic and Knuckles. And whether it be the combination of the two, one or the other, as long as one of them are healthy, the Lions will have a dominant rushing attack. Combined with the offensive line, again, they are always an X factor. But in this matchup specifically, this is really the Lions' biggest strength, the run game, versus the Bears' biggest weakness, their run defense. You really don't have to say more than that. The Lions have shown their prowess on the ground, and I think it holds true here in Week 13. And we talked about the Lions' potential issue at backup cornerback. Well, I think that opens things up for the Bears wide receivers. Now, I think they will spend time to limit DJ Moore, but I think it opens things up for a guy like Rome Odunze. Again, the Lions struggled to cover the wide receivers with their depth cornerbacks, and I think that could hold true again here. I see a guy like Rome Odunze breaking free for a few big plays here and there in this matchup. And let's switch it over to the defensive side. Sticking with the Bears, let's look at a guy like Montez Sweat making a difference in this game. And although the pass rush has kind of been limited for the Bears over the last several weeks, he's really been their shining spot, not only this season, but last year after they picked him up in the trade deadline. This year, he has 4.5 sacks, 20 tackles, and 7 tackles for loss. And on the Lions defense, really since the loss of Hutch, and especially now with the acquisition of Zadarius Smith, the interior defensive line has become so huge for the Lions. Aleem McNeil is wreaking havoc on the interior, and he did so, perfect example, in Week 12 against the Colts. He had 4 pressures. He forced a fumble. And again, he was in the face of Anthony Richardson all day long. And that just continues to get better and better. It's exactly what the Lions envisioned when they re-signed him this offseason. Of course, they didn't think they'd be without their best edge rusher and have to make up in other areas of the defense. But this is why you pay a guy like Aleem McNeil, and it's paying dividends for the Lions. Look for him to make another difference here against the Bears. I never want to be boring or repetitive or repeat the same things to you guys, but the ultimate difference in a lot of these games comes down to the same thing. And I believe in this matchup, the difference in the Thanksgiving Day game between the Lions and Bears is Sonic and Knuckles, the Lions' rushing attack against the Bears' rush defense. And that's really held true in several matchups here throughout the 2024 season. But the truth is, the Lions' offensive line overpowers most defensive lines. Sonic and Knuckles have proven to be the best running back duo in all of the NFL. When healthy, they really cannot be stopped. The best thing a defense can hope for is to limit that production and force the Lions into a situation where they have to pass the football. The Bears actually have a decent secondary, and I believe the Lions understand that and will play off of that to have success here on Thanksgiving Day. Everyone on the Lions side gets involved in their blocking scheme. They bring grit at you. And if other teams are not able to respond with that physicality, the Lions end up dominating these matchups. So in my opinion, the difference, although boring, although mundane, it is the key to the Lions' offensive success. and I think will be the key to victory for the Lions over the Bears on Thanksgiving Day. The line for this game is back to double digits, Lions at -10, and the over-under currently set at 48.5 points. The Lions are rolling. This offense can explode pretty much at any moment, and now their defense can stop you. Over the last several weeks, it's been the defense that's really led the charge, and it's a scary thing for this Lions team as we move forward. Now, there's some X factors here that worry me. Caleb Williams has been good at times, and I think the Lions' defensive line has proven that they are susceptible to athletic quarterbacks if run the right way, if schemed up properly. The Colts were able to run up and down the field early on in the game, but made mistakes and weren't able to convert touchdowns. If the Bears are able to do that, they might be able to hold themselves in this game. But ultimately, I think there's just too much firepower from this Lions offense. I think they've proven that they're able to stop you, and I don't know if the Bears have enough to beat this Lions team on Thanksgiving Day in Detroit, especially when they are trying to right wrongs as they've been doing all season. I don't expect this losing streak for the Lions on Thanksgiving Day to go any longer. Look for the Lions to win this football game. I have a final score of Lions 34, Bears 17. That would bring the Lions to 11-1, and the Bears will then drop to 4-8. That will do it for my Turkey Day game preview. Who do you have in Lions versus Bears? What is your final score? More importantly, what is your favorite side dish on Thanksgiving Day? Let me know down in the comments. If you dig the vibe here at Johnny Gas Sports, please slap that like button for me. It's the best free way to help out the channel. I'd also love it if you consider subscribing. We're now on the road to 3,000, thanks to you guys. And if you hit the notify bell, you won't miss any future videos. There's a little blue button on all my videos, that little join button. If you hit it, I'll walk you through how you can become a part of the family. But more than anything else, make sure to take care of yourself and your mental health. That's more important than anything. I want to make sure you come back and see me on future videos. Have a fantastic Thanksgiving with you and yours, family, friends, however you celebrate. Be thankful. I'm certainly thankful for you guys. Let's have a fantastic Turkey Day. Go Lions.